Damn, there's two split
All
decisions.
right, guys. What is going on? Of course, I am back with another post-fight analysis breakdown with my boys. Of course, the best of the best. My boys John and Ant from Bloody Canvas MMA. Welcome back, boys.
Yep.
What's going
Yep,
on,
yep,
man?
yep, yep. So we were supposed to have UFC Saskatoon last night. We were supposed to see Jillian Robinson fight Talia Santos last night, but of course that didn't happen. We got this card. We got Cynthia Calvillo versus um, uh, 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 Jessica I instead. Good night of fights. Good night of fights. A little bit of controversy. What do you guys think overall? How did this? How did potentially the worst card on paper and I mean, it could be the worst on paper. That card could have been the worst card of 2020. If right now was December 30th, 31st, 2020, and we look back at all the cards, we hadn't seen any of them. We just look at all of them on paper. You'd be like, what the fuck is this? But what did you guys think? How do you guys think it delivered, though?
Anthony, you want to go?
I mean, the way we opened up the night with those first three finishes, I wouldn't have called that if you guys
At
told me
all.
it was gonna happen. Like, I would have been
At
like, no
all,
way. I would
bro.
have bet against it. It was crazy, man. It was a good card. It was a little disappointing we didn't see Rayborg and Mariah, but I think the card made up for it, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that when you have cards that are, I mean, it's rare, but when you have cards that are this bad, it can only go up, right? Like it's rare that
Yes.
you get a card that like is horrible on paper and also horrible in the fights. But I mean, these fighters brought it last night. I mean, there was a bunch of really good fights for sure. And I mean, I'll be shocked if this isn't the worst card on paper that we get all year. But I mean, the fights delivered. It made me think that, and like I had never thought of this, but I was surprised that if you're gonna have a card like this, almost I thought that they could have done the prelims where the prelims were like a contender series card, like have those be the prelims where like you're having guys who are fighting to get into the UFC and then go right into the main card with UFC fighters. I mean, that's where my brain was at going into the night. But I mean, the prelims were awesome though. I mean, clearly that wouldn't have been the best idea, but yeah, I mean, it was a good card though. Good fights.
Yeah, it was a good card, man. Good card for sure. A lot of finishes, man. I mean, it was like we didn't get out of the first round until what, like the second to last card on the prelim or something like that. We didn't get out of a minute. I
No.
mean, it was crazy,
Yeah,
crazy,
we
man.
didn't
So, go ahead, Ant.
we didn't see a finish until the Marab fight, and that was the last fight on the prelims.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the first fight of the night, dude, Christian Aguilera, dude, that motherfucker's a stud, dude. He's a stud. I mean, did you guys see the power behind the punches? Because I mean, he clipped Anthony Ivy. When he clipped him, you know what I'm saying, and Anthony stumbled against the cage. As soon as his back hit that cage, and he was a good 4 or 5 feet away from the cage, and he just stumbled back. When I seen that, I said, "Oh, he's done. He's done, dude." And he just laid the power on him, dude. Like I was like, dude, what a way to show the UFC, like, hey, dude, you guys give me this opportunity. Here the fuck I am. What you guys take away from that fight?
And by the time Anthony got cracked, and then, like you said, his back was up against the cage, and he essentially began to curl up while he was standing up, and those shots just kept going through. We could tell it was getting through the block, man. There wasn't much he could have done to get out of there. Like, even me and John were like texting back and forth, like, this is nuts. Like, who would have thought this for the first fight on the card, especially
Right,
this
right,
card?
right. And two debutantes, man.
Yeah.
Two guys who've never fought in the UFC come in like that and just deliver. I mean, he delivered, man. I mean, he delivered. What do you
Yeah.
think? You know, like, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, Aguilera's got power because he hit Ivy, and like he didn't even know at first that he hurt him. Like I don't think
Right,
he
yeah.
realized it, and like and this dude was like going back against the cage, and then Aguilera's like, oh, this guy's hurt. Like, let me get this win right
Right,
quick, because
right,
I mean,
right.
but he didn't realize it, which tells me that this guy packs a punch. I mean, he must have hit him
Dude,
hard.
he hit him hard, dude. He cracked him, and I knew. I mean, he just looked disoriented after that, and he just showed up, dude. I mean, he'll probably get a big fight. Like, he'll probably get like the win. If like that's the that's reaching too far. I was gonna say Mike Perry, but if Mike Perry wins this next fight, it could be a big fight. Big fight for Perry. But no, I mean, but dude, Christian Aguilera, I'm curious to see where he goes, man. With power like that coming in at welterweight, I mean, like he has power for one, and he goes after it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he actually goes after it. Like when he hit that dude, he was on him. He was on him like white on rice. Good fucking fight. What you guys think? What you guys think about Tyson Nam versus Zura Adeshev? I thought those two they look. Their agents said they were young, dude, but they look like two grandpas in that fighting, dude. They look old as shit. Did they not?
They did look up there in age, man, and this was another one. If you would have told me, hey, Tyson Nam's going to go in there and just lay him out with one punch, I would have been like, no, not going to happen. That will probably happen later on in the night. But, man, I feel like he was someone that we've heard his name numerous times in the UFC, but he hasn't done anything to stand out. And last night, I mean, just the way he folded him up, like, Jesus, it was a great performance. And like I said, it was the second fight in a row, so not even go a minute. It's like, this was insane.
Yeah. Also, right quick about Christian Aguilera. If this dude wants to fight every weekend, I'm cool with that because the amount of Christina Aguilera gifts and stuff that were on my Twitter timeline, I was 100% all right with that. But with Tyson Nam, I mean, this guy was holding back tears in the octagon after that punch landed. I mean, it was impossible not to feel good for him. I mean,
it was a big win for him.
Hell yeah, and Adeshev is a real good striker, and like for that fight to go down like that for Tyson Nam, like I mean I picked him, but I didn't think it was gonna be like that at all. Like him landing a shot like that surprised the hell out of me. But he was kind of. It's a tough slate to come into the UFC at. I think he was 35 when he made his debut, maybe 36, whatever. He's 36 now, but and you get Sergio Pettis, and then you get Kai Kara France. Like that's tough, man. That's a tough way to make your entrance into the UFC, especially at that age. And those were two decent fights. And then he gets Adeshev, who's making his debut, and just puts the lights out on him in like 30 seconds. I mean, plus I just keep the trend going. I saw pictures of his girlfriend on Twitter.
Is she bad?
It's a good night for Tyson Nam. Oh my goodness.
I have to go check her out. I'm gonna check that out.
Pull that shit up.
I got you.
But I gotta ask you guys, if you don't mind, fellas, BJ, what are you thinking about Julia Avila? The way.
Well, before we get to that fight, I was gonna say I think a good fight for Tyson Nam after this fight would be maybe like a Brian Kelleher. You know what I'm saying? Like, Brian Kelleher put a nice little run together, just lost that quick turnaround that he just did. But a good fight for Tyson Nam, I think, would be Brian Kelleher. But Julia Avila versus Gina Mazzani. Oh my God. You guys know, like Anthony said, dude, Anthony, ever since you said this, bro, ever since you dropped this knowledge, you dropped this nugget in my ear, bro, it's stuck with me. I just want you to know that you have influenced me when you dropped this one little nugget. When you said that I have a PhD in women's MMA, bro, you know what I'm saying? Like, that just kind of that made me step my game up a little bit. That made me, raise my shoulders up a little bit when you said that, bro. Just want to let you know, homie.
Of course, man. It's the truth. What do you want me to say?
I watched that, and I was dying when I heard that. Oh my
god. But what I was saying was, I've heard the name Julia Avila floating around before she came into the UFC, and so when she came into the UFC is when I first started. Noticing, who she was, man. But when, and Gina Mazzani, it's kind of like that. I mean, I don't want to put that gatekeeper role on Gina Mazzani because Gina Mazzani, if it's one thing about Gina, man, she goes out there and she gives it every fight, man. She gives it all every single fight. But she Julia Avila is good, dude. She's good. She's underrated. She's gonna climb up through those rankings, dude. And if those girls come out and Gina Mazzani came out aggressive. That's what shocked me. Well, it's not really a shocker because Gina Mazzani always comes out aggressive, but Gina came out landing good shots, though. They were both landing good shots on each other. It's just when Avila landed that knee, man, Gina never recovered from that knee. Like she never recovered from that knee. So, and then Avila just put her the fuck out. What'd you think when you saw that, Ant?
Man, she put her out, but the barrage of strikes that it took for Gina to fall, I mean, it was insane. It was crazy the amount of strikes and the aggressiveness of it. And she rarely stood out last night, just that finish. And then that was just another one, the third finish in a row that it didn't even go a minute. This one didn't even go 30 seconds. I mean, this is one of the things that a contender needs to stand out in the women's bantamweight division. And by all means, I'm sure she's not going to be going out there and doing that to everybody, guys. Like she's just not going to do that to everybody. But if she can have performances like that, she'll shoot right up through that division because she'll stand out from everybody.
Right. Just kind of like what Irene Aldana did, dude. Just consistent, great performances. Good performances will get you there. Now look at Irene Aldana. I'm sure 9 months ago, Irene Aldana had no clue that, in the near future, she'd be in title contention. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy how that can happen. But, and when I did my post fight for that fight, I said, I always say who I think a good next matchup would be. You know what I'm saying? And I think that only if she decides to stay at bantamweight, Nico Montano would be a good matchup for Julia Avila, because she ain't gonna go in there and knock Nico out like that. You know what I'm saying?
She might.
Nico.
They fought before.
She might. You know what I'm saying? She might, but
Yeah.
Nico. They fought once before. She beat Nico before. Yeah, she beat Nico before.
She beat Reynau in her MMA debut too. She's a beast. She's a beast. I think she could eventually become a champion. That might be crazy, but I think she's easily the best unranked bantamweight by miles. Miles.
Really? Okay, I would say that too. You put her over Sarge Eubanks?
Yeah. Is Sarge ranked?
She's number 14.
I don't even know.
Sarge might be ranked. Yeah. Okay, Sarge might be ranked.
She's in number 14th ranked.
I think that right now, Julia Avila might be one of the 10 best women's bantamweights in the UFC.
She might get a big fight, though. She might get a big fight. She might get a Kunitskaya. Well, Kunitskaya's pregnant.
Hold on.
I don't. So Anthony said this, and I did some investigative research here, and I'm not sure that she is. I think the jury's still out. I think that was an April Fool's joke.
Yeah. I think that's what I said, dude. That's what I said, and someone tried to convince me. Someone pretty much convinced me of this last night. I said, yeah, but Yana Kunitskaya posted that on April Fool's. I don't think that's. Yeah, I don't think she's pregnant.
There's been no baby pictures. Yeah, there's been no baby pictures since. So I don't know. Maybe she is.
It's training.
But I think she's all right. And I think that'd be a damn good fight. Now that you put that in my head, that's the fight I want to see.
Oh, Kunitskaya. Yeah, but the thing is, can Julia Avila deal with someone at the level of Kunitskaya as far as striking? Because Kunitskaya is not going to be right there in front of her like Gina Mazzani was. You know what I'm saying? Kunitskaya is going to be pumping the jab. She's going to be sticking the jab. She's going to be throwing the kicks. And if the fight goes to the ground, Kunitskaya is good on the ground. So, so that leads me to how could Julia Avila really go? I mean, we've seen that Yana can be knocked out. Aspen Ladd knocked her out. You know what I'm saying? But could Avila compete with Marion Rain, the new Marion Rain, the now Marion Reynaud, the now Nico Montano, Macy Chasson. Macy Chasson. Dude, that's bantamweight is a little bit of a Shark Tank down there. Number 5 through 10 is a Shark Tank. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how far could she really go? When if she breaks that top 15, if she breaks that top 10, you know what I'm saying? She's in for a lot of tough fights. Lena Landsberg, I mean, that's a lot. Those are tough fights. Those are definitely tough fights.
But I think she's earned like a fight like that, and let's find out like who she is.
Yeah,
Like
let's
she's
find
definitely
out for
earned that.
sure.
And Nunes today talking about potentially retiring, which would make that division a whole lot more interesting. I mean, if Amanda Nunes retires, the women's bantamweight division gets really interesting, and that's what I keep saying about the flyweight division too, because everyone likes to trash on that division. But if you take out Valentina Shevchenko, that division would get interesting. If Amanda Nunes retires, the women's bantamweight division, you have GDR, Holly Holm, they're back into the mix. Pena, Ladd, Aldana, like all of these fighters could potentially become champion. And not to mention all the fighters that you just mentioned about the Shark Tank in the bottom third of the division. Like that division gets really, really interesting if you don't have, the GWOAT waiting for you at the title shot.
Yeah. So true, dude. I mean, Amanda Nunes is just like standing up there just looking down at them girls like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
She's just standing up there looking down at them, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, and I support Irene Aldana, you know what I'm saying? She deserves a title shot. They were going to – see, this is why I believe she deserves a title shot. I believe she deserves a title shot because she beat Ketlen Vieira. They were going to – if Ketlen Vieira hadn't got injured, they were going to give Ketlen Vieira the title shot for beating Kat Zingano. So – if you take out the girl who was getting ready to get the title shot, you should be getting the title shot. But yet they put Holly Holm in front of her. But it's just like when you picture Irina Aldana in there with – I mean, now, in the fight with Ketlen Vieira, Aldana got lit up too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, she was getting hit too. You know what I'm saying? Like, and put her in there with Nunes. She goes toe-to-toe with Nunes like that, even though Irina Aldana has the size. She's not lacking in size and length and strength. She's good there. It's just, can she handle that power? Because if Ketlen Vieira would have landed a few more punches on Irene Aldana might have been the one to sleep. Because Ketlen Vieira throws heat, and Kat Zingano, her and Kat was banging in there, dude. That's when I first realized that Ketlen Vieira had power, dude. When her and Kat was going toe-to-toe, I was like, fuck, dude. Like, damn, this girl can fight. So it's just, even picturing Ketlen Vieira against Amanda Nunes, it's like, ooh, like Ketlen Vieira is very slow. She's very proddy, like that's not gonna work,
Well, I mean, we're gonna learn about Aldana a lot when she steps into the octagon with Holly Holmes.
Yeah.
That's gonna be like, how is she gonna approach that kind of striking match? Because Holly Holm is like the elite of the elite in that division, outside of course, the GWOAT and GDR.
That's the type of fight that Holly. That's the type of fight that Holly needs to be Holly. You know what I'm saying? Like, somebody who's. That's why I was fucking wanting to see Skye versus Holly, because that's going to bring the best out of both of them. You know what I'm saying? A fight, but then my balls tickle a little bit when I think Aldana and Holly, because they're both. I mean, it's going to be a great striking match, man. Like, I mean, these striking matches are going to be. I mean, that's a pretty even striking match, and I would even give the power advantage to Irina Aldana. Holly don't have a whole lot of power in her punches, and we saw that in the Cyborg fight. Holly landed clean, flush shots on Chris Cyborg, man, and it didn't put her. It didn't fade. She didn't even cut. She didn't even cut Chris Cyborg. She busted her nose a little bit, but I was like, damn, Holly ain't got no power in her punches. Irina Aldana, on the other hand, does have power. So
she has power, BJ, but if anything, she might surprise all three of us, because what if she goes the route she did with Megan Anderson, where I think a lot of people thought that was going to be a striking match, and she just held her on the ground and worked her for 3 rounds. Megan has no chance on the ground, and Holly just took advantage of that, and she got the W. She could easily do that with Irene.
That's what Pennington did.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right, man. Man, that's a good idea, and I mean that's a good question, man. Like, what if that happens? Like, what if Holly takes that approach? Because Holly's gotten a whole lot better with taking people to the ground than she did early in her career. I think she learned from the Tate fight that, you gotta get that ground game together, and I've seen Holly, clinching. I've seen Holly had people say Holly hadn't evolved. Holly has evolved. You know what I'm saying? Like Holly, you see a lot more clinching from Holly. You see a lot more knees from Holly. You see a lot more takedown attempts from Holly, especially in the Cyborg fight. Holly tried her hardest to get Cyborg to the ground. You know what I'm saying? She couldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? So you see, but the thing about Holly, Holly's biggest weakness, you know what I'm saying, that I've noticed, is if somebody counter strikes Holly home, it throws Holly's rhythm off. You know what I'm saying? Like Holly is the one. Holly excels when somebody's coming at her. You know what I'm saying? When somebody is coming at Holly Holm, that's when you have the best Holly Holm. Raquel Pennington chased Holly Holm down. She lit Raquel Pennington up. Marion Renault chased her down. She lit Marion Renault up. Ronda chased her down. She lit Ronda up. Misha did not chase her down. Misha Tate did not chase her down. That was what won Misha Tate that fight, is that Misha didn't chase Holly and be stupid running in like Ronda did. You know what I'm saying? But Valentina Shevchenko counterstruck the fuck out of Holly Holm in that fight. You know what I'm saying? And that was, arguably 2 weight class difference in size here. When you're talking about Valentina Shevchenko and Holly Holm, and Valentina was able to successfully counterstrike Holly Holm for 3 rounds or 5 rounds, whatever that fight was. So that's her biggest weakness. Maybe Aldana has watched the Valentina Shevchenko fight, because that's probably going to be the best path to victory, is to counterstrike Holly Holm. Sorry for the rant, guys. I'm high as fuck.
Don't worry about it, man.
It just is what it is.
Listen, if you're gonna be making good points, then go right ahead. When you start talking nonsense, then we'll cut you off. But if you're gonna keep making good points, then do your thing.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead, man. Go ahead, fellas.
No, and with that, and this kind of speaks to Avila too, and like her opportunity to potentially climb through that division, where I was a little bit surprised that they booked Holly Holm and Aldana, because if Holly Holm wins, then that would almost like put her as like a number 1 contender, sort of, depending on what happens with Aspen Ladd. And are you going to book her versus Amanda again? I don't think so. But if Amanda retires and is out of that picture, well, then now Holly Holm is back in the mix, and maybe that fight with Aldana makes more sense. And, if you're a fighter like Avila, who's coming up and has a really good performance like you had last night, and you don't have to fight Amanda Nunes when you get your title shot, I don't know, man. I think that division could get really interesting. Nunes is my favorite fighter. I'd hate to see her go, but just from the perspective of the division entirely, it would get a lot more interesting.
Pull a Henry Cejudo, Amanda Nunes. Pull a Henry. Get the fuck out and retire. One of the greatest of all. Well, Amanda Nunes would retire the greatest of all time.
To John's point, if Amanda was to do that, I can only imagine we're going to see a lot more women move up to that featherweight division too. That would be the green light for Holly Holm to move back up and try to establish herself there, or GDR. It's a possibility.
Yeah,
it is a possibility, dude. Hopefully it definitely is a possibility.
Amanda, stay. Don't listen to them. Defend the belt. You ain't break no record yet.
See, man, at times like now, man, I wish Kat Zingano was still in UFC, man.
Yes.
Kat would be right there, especially with that win over Renault, dude. Kat would be right in the mix. Yeah, and I hate to see Kat go from UFC, man. That shit hurt so bad. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, fuck, dude. She was about to go for it again, dude. She was about to go again for it. You know what I'm saying? And I wish that she'd stayed around, man. But it is what it is. But you guys are definitely right. If Amanda retires, then that opens up featherweight and bantamweight, because the girls. The best chance at featherweight is Megan Anderson, and that's a toss-up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a toss-up. So, it is what it is. But we'll see, man. We'll see. Let's move on, guys. What's the next fight?
Merab. Davalishvili. This is a mauling.
It's a monster.
Dude. For me, that was a sleeper, bro. I expected that fight to be boring. I don't why. Don't ask me why I expected that fight to be boring, but I expected that fight to be boring, and it was fucking amazing. I mean, that happened more than once.
Yeah, I'll say this though. Gustavo Lopez, he showed a lot of heart, and like the fact that he didn't tap in the second round.
Tap, yeah.
Oh my gosh! And to fight a guy like Merab Dvalishvili, who is just going to take you down, and if you get back up, he's just going to take you right back down for 15 straight minutes. And to fight a guy like that on short notice, on like 2 days' notice, I mean, hats off to Lopez. And I'll say this: it speaks to Combate Americas, where like they have like some pretty good talent. I mean, like nobody in the bantamweight division is gonna want to fight Dvalishvili, and I mean nobody will want to fight him. And this dude, who was their bantamweight champion, just steps in out of nowhere on 2 days' notice, and like, yeah, he did get dominated, but he competed hard. Yeah, you know what I mean? And respect to the man. And like, it makes, I think overall it was a positive for Combate to have a guy like that just kind of like put on, even though Lopez is a knockout guy, and he fought just an absolute savage animal in Merab Dvalishvili. But yeah, man, I mean, Merab is a monster. He is a monster.
Guys, did you guys see how he was striking his way into the takedowns? Did you guys see how he was executing that shit to fucking like perfection, bro? I mean, it was beautiful the way he would throw that overhand right and just open up and just get that takedown, man. Who are you talking about? And I heard you, man.
No, don't do it.
Come on, there's only one, brother. Come on, just say it, John. Say it for me.
If you give him any sort of crack in that door, he's gonna burst right in and talk about Habib.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I'm right there with you, bro. I'm right there with you. Oh, I'm sorry, John. I'm sorry, John. Oh, absolutely, man.
Oh my God.
I'm right there with you, bro.
You guys alone for a couple weeks, and this is what I come back to. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God,
bro. I'm sorry, dude. No, there's no. I mean, I gotta agree with that wholeheartedly, dude. Khabib is the king of that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and people don't want to give Khabib his credit. Like people just, people just look at the worst of Khabib, and that is Khabib. Look at what he does so well.
It's not that. It's just Anthony constantly bringing him up. That's what it is. I mean, it's nothing against Habib. It's just all against Anthony. And now apparently you too. Now I got to deal with both of y'all.
I mean, whatever. It is, bro. I mean, greatness, you got to recognize greatness.
No, for real. No, that's fair. That's fair.
You have to, and that's what it looked like in the octagon. He pushed them with strikes, and then once he got a hold of them, I mean, it's the Habib blueprint.
Yeah, he's not going to want to. And we could be a year or so away from Merab Dvalishvili being and I always say both of his names when I talk about him. I don't say either one. I say both of them. But anyway, we could be like a year away from him about to fight Aljamain Sterling for the belt. I mean, it could be a situation, and their teammates, they were in each other's corners and stuff but if Sterling keeps going on this run and Merab just keeps blitzing everybody, who the hell knows, man? Like
he said Merab keeps blitzing everybody. That's what he does. He's good at it though, man.
So
he's good at it. Yeah, he's good at it, dude. I have to give him props.
He's good at it, and I gotta be honest, fellas, the one name that popped up in my mind for Merab was Cody Steinmans. Like, can he do that to Cody? Do you guys think? And I think he could, and I think that would be one of the best tests for Cody Steinman right now, because it does seem like the UFC is still trying to build him up to be a recognized figure in the bantamweight division, because he always has a good buzz around him when it comes to fight week. And I just think this would be a true like wrestler's dream match, but I don't know if you want to kill off one of them so early.
Yeah. I would have said Sean O'Malley.
That's a tough one for O'Malley.
Yeah,
It's
you don't
where
want
we
to know who
learn.
I'd pick in that fight if you're a Sean O'Malley fan.
Yeah, that's a tough one for O'Malley. It's where we learn about him, to be honest.
That's a high risk fight for O'Malley. High risk.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
if he goes
Super
out
high
there
risk
and
fight.
starches Marab, it's like, all right,
Well,
here we
but here's
go.
the thing. Here's the thing, though. That is O'Malley versus Marab is literally the bantamweight, like, and not as big, but Connor and Habib. Like, that's exactly what that fight is.
Yeah,
And I've
for
seen
sure.
that fight already. I know how that fight goes.
It's true. That is true. But I don't think his foot won't be a balloon or anything either.
Yeah.
So he'll be healthy. Healthy. But real quick, fellas, what would you guys have thought if this fight didn't go 30 seconds? Like, could this have been the greatest prelims in a while as far as finishes? It's close.
It's up there. It's up there.
Which one? You talking about the Marab fight?
Yeah, what if Marab went and got a 42-second finish? That would have been like, oh man, each fight didn't go a minute.
Yeah.
True contendership.
It would have been the greatest prelim card ever. Probably.
But I think
the worst roster of prelim.
Yeah. But I think that if there had been a knockout within the first minute, I think it would have been Lopez knocking out Marab. And I'm not saying that I didn't think that would happen, but Lopez has knockout power, like legit knockout power. And if he had knocked out Marab on short notice in under a minute, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That would have been crazy.
Yeah.
People would have made a lot of money. I'm sure they would have made a lot of money.
Oh yeah. Sure. Yeah. That is true. So guys, now the next fight, Maria Agapova versus Hannah Cifers. I had a huge issue with this fight. At this point, you have to question Hannah Cifers' team. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you guys let your fighter, who is clearly undersized at strawweight, clearly undersized, like obviously undersized, a true atom weight, you know what I'm saying? Why would you let her take a fight at 125 pounds? I mean, I can understand if it was like Molly McCann or somebody, but Maria Agapova is a huge flyweight. Like, I mean, did they not even Google this girl and look at this girl? And I mean, did you not watch her Invicta fights? Like, I mean, did you not watch any of that? Like, she right off the bell pieced Hannah Cifers ass. I mean, she was hitting Hannah Cifers so hard, dude. And Hannah was the reach advantage was the size advantage was so apparent in that fight. It's like, why would you put your fighter through that? Like, why would you do that? I understand she wants to be active, but be active where you fit. You know what I'm saying? Like, be active where you fit. Because you jumping up the flyweight, you run into imagine if she'd have ran into Lipsky. Lipsky would have put her the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? Like, if she'd have ran into Priscilla Cachoeira would have put her the fuck out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, dude, I mean, you got to think about, these flyweights are huge. These flyweights are way bigger than atom weights. That's like Carla Esparza going to fight Caitlin Chukagian. Like, that's not going to work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't do that. And that was, that loss is on her team. Her team should have told her, we understand that you want to be active, but this is not the fight. This is not the fight.
It wasn't the fight.
Maria, no.
It's just never a good sign. Oh, she's a monster. It's never a good sign though when like going into the fight, you think to yourself, I mean, I just don't see how this fighter could win just based on size and going up a division. And then when the fight happens, it's like, yeah, that's what happened. Like, no brainer. Like that. Like when that happens, you have to second guess what decision went into signing that fight. But she did apparently sign a 4-fight extension on her deal, which is great for her. Like, let's just give her some normal-sized strawweight, like, please. But
right. I mean, she. Go ahead.
Man, it was just tough because if you see the card and you see the results, you would think maybe like Agapova just went in there, sort of got Hannah Cyphers down, synced in the red naked choke, because that's usually how it would go. But she put a beating on Cyphers before she
She put
synced
a
in
beating
that
on Hannah
choke,
Cypher.
man. She put a beating on
She
her,
put a
and it
beating.
was tough to see. It was tough to see, and the only thing that popped up in my mind is like, yeah, it was Hannah Cyphers. But Agapova is going to give some of these flyweights some true issues. If she's going to be
Yeah,
fighting
dude.
like that confidence was through the roof. Her stance switching, just her striking, everything was what you would want to see, especially for a contender in this new division, man. Like she's going to give these ladies a run for their money, and just what she did to Hannah Cyphers, it was like, all right, was this a quick turnaround to boost Cyphers' ego? Is this like, did we sort of just feed Agapova a meal?
I think they fed her, bro. I think they fed her. I think they fed her. I think they fed her Hannah Cyphers. They told Hannah Cyphers, hey, there's a fight at flyweight if you want it. You know what I'm saying? When
Take
there was
this
a
L,
plethora of
we'll give you a
flyweights
full fight contract.
right, right. Take this L, take this ass whooping, and we're gonna help you out. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, dude, that sets with if Maria Agapova is gonna come in like that. You know what I'm saying? If she's gonna come in like that, then it makes perfect sense to put her against Ariane Lipsky, the violence
Mhm.
queen. Bro. Like that's the fight for her. Like that's a fight for her, dude. Because they both very powerful strikers, very fast strikers. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? That's a hell of a fucking match. Or maybe Antonina Shevchenko. Shevchenko could go in there and stand and bang with this girl. That's the type
Yeah.
of fight that Shevchenko needs to get back on the horse. These other girls like De La Rosa and those, they're gonna take Shevchenko down and beat her the fuck up. A fighter like this, that's the type of fighter you need to build a striker. You know what I'm saying? Like Maria Agapova could be hell at 125. She could be hell at 125 pounds if she coming in every fight like that, throwing long jabs and long right, straight rights and switching stances and throwing kicks, and she landed that beautiful. She ended that combination with that head kick and dropped Hannah Cypher. I was like, oh, she's done. Dude. When that head kick landed, I said she's done. It's done. You know what I'm saying? She's fucking crazy, dude. Great entrance by Agapova though, man. Nice fight.
Real.
Nice
That was a
fight.
great performance. One of the more
Yeah.
impressive performances on the entire card.
Yeah.
Right, for
By
sure.
far.
For sure. That was beautiful. That was an execution of Hannah Cypher.
It really was.
So the first decision is this the next one is the first decision of the night, right?
No,
Nope.
Marab.
Oh,
Marab.
Marab was the first decision. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Um, but Jordan Espinosa, dude, Mark De La Rosa, man, like I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what Mark De La Rosa. I don't know what he's doing wrong, man. Like I don't want to talk bad about Mark De La Rosa because I'm trying to get his wife on a podcast. But you know what I'm saying? It's just like Mark De La Rosa is like a step behind. Like I don't understand what the deal is. Like this guy jabbed Mark De La Rosa to death.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, what do you guys think?
I think Jordan Espinosa looked great. And
Mm,
he was about 5 steps ahead of Mark De La Rosa. As soon as
yeah,
from the fight started, like there was a couple of moments where I was like, if Mark just tightens up a little bit, he can hit him with something that can really do some damage. But Jordan Espinosa just looked like a different version of himself from the last time we seen him in the
right.
octagon. And that's always what we
Yeah.
want to see, but then we don't want to see that from Mark De La Rosa, who's just been, I mean, I gotta say, he's been on the worst run lately, like just horrendous.
Yeah,
I know, man.
when we make our picks for Bloody Canvas during our videos, like sometimes if everybody picks the same fighter, I pick last and I'll just go against the trend just to like, if it's a
Break it up.
close if I think it's somewhat close. So everybody picked Espinosa and I was like, I'm gonna roll the dice on Mark De La Rosa. And about 43 seconds into the fight, I was like, well, this is a loss.
Yeah.
And it was just because Espinosa was just so fast. He was so much
Fast
faster than
speed.
De La Rosa. It was
Speed.
crazy. And
Yeah.
remember, I think it was in the first round. I think it was it might have been the second round, but I think it was the first round when De La Rosa had a hold of Espinosa's leg against the cage and was just eating those elbows, and he wouldn't let go of the leg, and he was just like, "What are you doing, dude? Like you're just eating elbows, and you're just fine. You're not trying to secure the takedown. You're not defending yourself. You're just eating elbows, holding on to a leg." And it was a tough fight for Mark De La Rosa. I like Mark De La Rosa, but I mean, at this point, it's like, I don't know. I'm trying to, I don't know. That was a tough
I'm trying to hold on to Mark. I like Mark De La Rosa, dude. I do. You know what I'm saying? But it's like the closest thing they getting to gold is Montana De La Rosa. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the closest to gold they getting, man. Like, Mark, I don't understand. Like, he just didn't make any adjustments. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't make any adjustments in the fight, dude. And he just allowed, Jordan Espinosa to stay at distance and jab and kick him to death. You know what I'm saying? Like, he did, man. He allowed himself to take too many shots, too, man. He took way too many. He allowed himself to take too much punishment, So it is what it is.
Yeah.
Hopefully Mark can bounce back, man. I'd hate to see him go. I'd hate to see him out of the UFC, but I think what's holding him there is the whole married couple thing, fighting in the UFC. Yeah. That's kind of what's holding. I shouldn't say that. Well, but it is what it is. I picked in the next fight, Andre Touchy-Feely. I definitely picked him to win this fight. I picked him to win this fight, man. I just felt like all around he was just a better fighter than Charles Jourdain, man. I didn't know much about Charles Jourdain, and from the highlights that they showed, man, I just knew Andre Feely would win that fight. What do you guys think about that fight?
I think Touchy-Feely. It surprised me that he got a split decision victory. I thought it was going to be more cut clear because that's what it seemed like. He was out striking him. His confidence was there. He was having fun. Like, his tempo was there. Everything was there. And Charles Jourdain, he was landing some strikes, but I don't think it was something where it was like, all right, it's coming down to this third round. Who's going to take it? I don't think it was like that at all. It was weird.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. The judging has been kind of early. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I mean, Touchy-Feely is a guy who, like, he's just hard to put your thumb on. Like, sometimes he just looks so damn good. I mean, he looked so good in that third round against Sadiq Youssef. Like, he clearly lost the first 2 rounds, but he looked so good in that third round. There's been other times where he's just looked so good, and then other times it's just like, I don't know about this guy. And man, like, he's 29 now. I mean, that was a good, tough, hard-fought fight. You know what I mean? He got the win. And Jourdain is a guy. I mean, he could scrap. That was a good fight. I'd like to see Andre Feely string together a couple wins. Like, come on, let's string together a couple wins. Like, the time is now, dude.
He's the featherweight Kevin Lee.
Oh man.
Wow.
Here we go.
I mean, he's a featherweight Kevin Lee. He is. He really is. I'd like to see him put together a couple wins, man, because, I mean, the hype is behind him. If he can put together some wins, the UFC will push him. I mean, the UFC will push a fighter like with a name like Touchy-Feely, you know what I'm saying? And, the way he is, they'll push a fighter like that. So, I mean, he just has to put the work in.
They're always going to push somebody from Team Alpha Male. Like they always do with the Song Yadong, Cody, freaking TJ. Yep. They always push Team Alpha Male. They take care of them, but it's just, I don't know what's up with Team Alpha Male. They fall apart.
They have the most drama and shit. Camp, dude, I swear. Fucking Charles Rosa with a good win over Kevin Aguilar, though, man. I was expecting that. Most definitely. What do you guys think?
I think I said this to John before the fight started, and we even brought this up a little bit while the fight was going on. Like, he just got so outclassed by Bryce Mitchell. I think it put a just a bad stamp on Charles Rosa. But I don't care who it was. I don't think they would have got past Bryce Mitchell that night. Like just the way he swarmed him and was on him, it was something beautiful to see. So I think there was a lot of questions going into Charles Rosa's fight last night, and the way he looked against Kevin Aguilera, almost butchered that terribly. Almost called him Aguilera.
Oh gosh,
Charles Rosa, man, I think. All right, I can't put all my eggs into this basket because it's just like I feel like where we see him be successful in some areas, he has huge holes in his game that people can just take advantage of. And for the perfect example is like Bryce Mitchell. Like, what does he do when someone overwhelms him like that?
Right. And Bryce Mitchell is good, dude. Bryce Mitchell is good. He's good.
Peace. Yeah, I mean, Charles Rosa, I mean, his losses, his career losses are to Dennis Seaver, Yair Rodriguez, Shane Burgos, and Bryce Mitchell. Like, that's it. Like, that's the only dudes that beat this guy. Also, kind of a crazy stat that he had 2 split decisions, one against Yair Rodriguez, one against Kevin Aguilar, 5 years to the day apart. Like, that's kind of crazy. I don't know. I like weird stats like that. But anyway, and Yair beat him and then puked during his post-fight interview with Joe Rogan after he beat him. So, I mean, that was a close fight. And a lot of people think that Rosa won that fight. I mean, I would have liked to have seen Rosa try to get the fight to the canvas a little bit more. I would have liked to have seen him try to take Aguilar down a little bit more. That didn't happen. But, I mean, I thought he did enough. I agreed with the judges on this one. I thought that Rosa just did a little bit more. But, I mean, it's a good scrap. It was a good scrap. I just thought that I was just a little bit surprised in Charles Rosa's game plan.
Yeah. I have to agree with that. I'd have to agree with that for sure. But yeah, man, he's only lost to good talent, so that speaks to the type of fighter that he is, you know what I'm saying? He's only lost to those really good guys. Like, that's the future of that division. So, it is what it is with that. I mean, it's been a good bounce back for him tonight, though. I mean, last night for sure. Good win in his column. Like you said, hard fought fight. It was a good one.
And sometimes when you have a loss like he had against Bryce Mitchell, like, you don't care how it comes. You just pick up a W. Like, get a win and, like, all right, you know what I mean? And, like, just kind of, like, wash that out. You got to win. All right, now let's move on to the next fight kind of thing. And, from that standpoint, job well done.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about the co-main event? Marvin Vettori.
It went exactly how I thought it was going to go, to be honest with you guys. Unless, like, Vettori just went in there completely emotioned out and Robinson got the best of him. That was the only way I seen him winning that fight. But Marvin Vettori, he's such an underrated middleweight. It was like, man, what is this guy going to have to do in order to get some pop in the UFC? I mean, he got his first bonus last night, right? He was freaking out and celebrating like a little kid.
I mean, how far does he go? That's another question now.
Something that
you can ask that.
VJ, man, something John always mentions, and it's stuck in my head since he said it to me. This guy, we're talking about someone that went split decision with the middleweight champion. Like, he easily could have won that fight depending on how things would have went, how the judges viewed it.
I'll say this too, like, a lot of people bring up the Adesanya fight, but I mean, he also has a majority draw against Omari Akhmedov, who is a beast. Like, it wasn't just like one, good fight against Adesanya. It wasn't like that. Like, this guy, like, and since then he's just put on. And I gotta say, when I woke up on Friday morning, the morning of weigh-ins, I didn't care who won this fight. And I didn't care who won the main event. But by the time the weigh-in started, I was rooting hard for Marvin Vettori, and I was rooting hard for Cynthia Calvillo. You know what I mean? Like, the stuff that I and Roberson did, like, after missing weight, plus the fact that they missed weight, like, after that happened, I was rooting hard for him. I was. But credit to Roberson when he got out of that choke.
Mhm.
That was insane. I mean, it was an entertaining fight for however long it lasted. Just over four minutes. But yeah, man, I think Vettori's in the same spot. I think everything that we said about Julia Avila, we could say about Marvin Vettori. I think he's the best non-ranked middleweight. I think that he deserves a fight against a ranked opponent or someone who could potentially get him ranked, like one of those types of fights. And I think he could be a problem for a lot of those fighters at 185.
Yeah, man, he's good. He's big too. That's one thing about him. He's a big boy
and angry.
You got to be big when you in there with when you in there with fighters like Paulo Costa and now Darren Till and those type fighters, man. Even Kelvin Gastelum. When you in there with Kelvin, you gotta be bigger than Kelvin, or Kelvin gonna put your motherfucking ass out.
Shit, Edmund Shabazian is the same way.
Shabazian, yeah, man. I mean, shoot, that's a
Cannoneer.
We can go on and on.
Oh my gosh, that division.
Shoot, that's a stacked fucking division, bro. That's a stacked division. But yeah, good win for him, dude. Definitely good win for him. I mean, who does he fight next?
Don't know. It's a tough. Well, Shabazian has that fight coming up with Derek Brunson still.
Right, that's right.
And I don't know.
Maybe give him Jocko. He's ranked number 15.
Christoph Jocko.
That'd be a good one.
I don't know, man.
Maybe Ian Heinich from that.
Heinich is fighting in a couple weeks.
Is he? You got rebooked already?
Yeah, I forget who he's fighting against.
Ian
Heinich. So.
I didn't know that.
See who that is, John. I don't know who he's. I don't know who he's.
He's fighting on the Poirier Hooker card. 1 second. I got it.
Ooh, that's another one. That's another one.
That's a whole different video, BJ.
No, that's a great fight. He's fighting Brendan Allen. That's right. Oh, yes. That's a great fight. That is a great fight.
Yeah.
That is a good fight. Oh, that's a potential barn burner.
Yeah.
That's a potential.
I'm gonna be wasted on my golf trip watching that fight. Yeah.
Question, fellas, real quick. Do you or do you not believe that Jessica I really weighed in over the limit that she said she did? Do you think it was more than 0.25?
Yeah, I do.
I do too.
I mean, Cynthia Calvillo don't have a reason to lie about it.
Even JoJo called her out for it before Calvillo said it too.
But I didn't see how she could grab anything though.
Her hands were up, so she could just hold on to the hoop. And if you hold on to the hoop, it just takes it might not be a lot, but it takes a little of the weight off if you're holding on to the hoop.
Is that what she did?
Yeah, you're supposed to put your hands up when you're in a hoop, but she didn't do that. Her hands were down, so she was probably holding on to the hoop.
One of these real lightly, we couldn't see the grip, but she was probably holding on to it to death.
Which, when you're talking about 130, 125 pounds, whatever it was, when you're talking about that, 1 or 2 pounds doesn't really make a difference. You can't really feel it if you were holding her or whatever. Mm-hmm. But if you're on a scale, and if it's a pound or two, that's a huge difference when you're talking about that. And that's what Calderwood said as soon as that happened. She tweeted out, and that's what started their whole back and forth. And then Calvillo said that she got the text message from the manager. So oh man, oh my gosh, I was rooting so hard for Cynthia Calvillo. I'm sorry, Jessica I, after what she did to my girl Viviane Araujo at UFC 245 when she weighed in at 131 pounds, for her to miss weight again and then just act like all that, how she's been acting, all that kind of stuff. I'm sorry, it's rare that I root against a fighter. It is very rare. I was rooting against Jessica I last night, and I was glad that she lost. I'm sorry. It is what it is. I got to be honest.
What it is, dude. I mean, because she made that video to when Sarge Eubanks missed weight. She made that video. If you you're unresponsible, this and that. She made that video calling out Sarge Eubanks, and then now it's done bitter in the ass. You know what I'm saying? But she lost. The bottom line of the night is she lost to Cynthia Calvillo. That puts Cynthia Calvillo as the number one contender at 125 pounds. So now Calvillo probably have to end up. Well, what do y'all think is going to happen? Because Joe and Valentina coming up. So what do you think?
We seen the call out, essentially. We seen Caitlin Chukagian saying, give me. And I am all for that fight. Like, all for that fight. Like, especially with the way, nothing against her, even though it's Antonina Shevchenko, Caitlin Chukagian looked like a monster when she was doing that to her. And if we can get Cynthia Calvillo and Caitlin Chukagian to, square off and potentially be, of course, I don't think it would be that way for Caitlin, but if it's a potential title shot for Cynthia until JoJo and Valentina fight, I'm all for that, man. Fight Island, let's do it.
That's a good one, dude.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
And I don't mean to be mean when I say this. It's a sad reality because, like you, BJ, I like women's MMA. What's next for Cynthia Calvillo is probably the prelims. She's probably going to go from a main event to the prelims, which is, I don't like that, but that's just a sad reality of the situation. But what I think, if you look at
Wait.
I'm sorry.
I'm
sorry.
Dude, I mean, you had to just chop Cynthia Calvillo down.
No, listen. Anthony will attest to this. I love Cynthia Calvillo. Yeah. I love her. I love her. Like, I think that she is a monster, and I think that, like, if not for Valentina, I think she could be the champion in that division. I really do. I love Cynthia Calvillo. I think very highly of her. And if it was up to me, that wouldn't be the case. I'm just saying the reality of the situation, the unfortunate reality of the situation is that it's probably going to be a prelim fight. Hopefully a featured prelim on a big card. I'll say that.
You crazy as fuck, dude.
But I think that
put UK back down on the prelim, didn't they? They
put her against Antonina, featured prelim on that card.
Yeah. You're right. So you might be on to something there. You might be right, bro. When it happens.
I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that we look back and say you look like an idiot. I really hope that, because like I said, I like Cynthia Calvillo, but what I think is going to happen is Lauren Murphy, Roxanne Modafferi, that felt like the winner is going to get a title shot. I don't think that's the case, necessarily the case anymore, because if you book Calvillo and Chukagian and Calvillo beats her, I'm sorry, Roxanne Modafferi. I'm sorry, Lauren Murphy, but Calvillo is ahead of you now.
Roxanne, realistically, it should be the winner of Murphy Roxanne that fights Cynthia Calvillo, not Caitlin Chukagian. I mean, Caitlin Chukagian could probably end up fighting the winner of Jennifer Maia. I mean, if Viviana Araújo beats Jennifer Maia, then she'll probably fight Chukagian. It could go that way.
You know what I want to happen? I want, if Amanda Nunes retires, Valentina go up to 35, go pick up a second belt, and then vacate 25, and then that division gets really interesting too. I don't know. I'm just throwing out crazy scenarios right now, but I think the problem is not the problem, but the thing is Valentina likes to be active. And if once she's back and healthy and she fights Calderwood, assuming she beats her, if she wants to stay active, well, then it's like, all right, then go fight the winner of Roxanne and Lauren Murphy. If you beat them, which you probably will, then you fight Cynthia Calvillo if she's able to beat Chukagian. Like, you could do it like that. I don't know. It's kind of weird, but like, I want to get ahead of this. And if Roxanne Modafferi beats Lauren Murphy and Cynthia Calvillo fights Caitlin Chukagian, and they give the title shot to Calvillo over Roxanne Modafferi, I just want to remind everyone that Roxanne Modafferi has already been given a title shot that she didn't deserve. Now, I think you could argue that she would deserve this. I'm not arguing that, but I'm saying it's not like an anti-Roxanne Modafferi thing. Like, she got a title shot already when she fought Nico Montano when it should have been Sarge. So, like, it's not it's not going to be a situation where, like, she gets screwed and it's like everybody against Roxanne. Like, we've seen that the UFC has done her favors. And if she beats Lauren Murphy, I'm 100% fine with her getting the title shot, especially if Valentina wants to be active. But if Cavillo beats and then Chookagian, she is above the winner of Lauren Murphy and Roxanne Modafferi, in my opinion. I'm sorry.
Even Atarujo and Maya?
Well, I like Atarujo too, so let me see how that fight goes first.
I mean, you got those two there, so I mean, it makes it interesting, man. It really makes it interesting as to who they're gonna pair up, because they're starting to emerge at 125. They're starting to emerge, like people are starting to come out. Now you got Calvillo. But what is Calvillo's chances against Valentina Shevchenko? What are her chances?
A lot of women don't have a chance, BJ. I'm sorry. They just don't. Valentina's a different monster. It's like with Amanda Nunes. They just don't have a chance. Cyborg at Bellator now. There might be someone, but as far as I know, they don't have a chance. It's just a different realm. Weili Zhang, we never know. I mean, me and John has had this debate 10 out of 10 times between her and Joanna. Man, between 10 out of 10, if Joanna and Weili Zhang fought 10 times, we don't know. I mean,
yeah, but you can't say that about the top 5 at strawweight. You can't say that none of them have a chance of beating Weili Zhang, because that would not be a true statement.
No, I gotta see Tatiana. I gotta see Rose.
That's it. I think Tatiana has the best chance.
Guys, I might need you guys to hold me back here. I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I think Cynthia Cavillo has a chance against Valentina Shevchenko.
I mean, if the jiu-jitsu is on point, now this is the truth. Cavillo on the ground, and she's a fish. The only thing Valentina Shevchenko has on the ground is that crucifix position. That's the only thing Valentina has. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's not like fluent on the ground.
I think Cynthia Cavillo is going to beat Valentina Shevchenko. Oh my gosh.
Dude, I'm not going to laugh at you, bro.
If someone's going to do it, I think she could. If she grows into that body, she gets a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. I don't know. I'm trying to breathe some hope in life. Nothing against Valentina, but just to make it interesting in that division, Cynthia Cavillo's ground game is good. And we've seen what Juliana Pena was able to do against Valentina Shevchenko for almost 2 full rounds. I think Cynthia Cavillo can do a similar type of game plan and potentially fight like that.
If somebody is going to go out there, if anybody there's 2 fighters in that whole conversation that, to me, would go out there and go right at Valentina. That's what you have to do. You can't do Chookagian. You can't do Liz Carmouche. You can't do that against Valentina. You have to go at Valentina Shevchenko. If you don't go, then she's going to beat you up. Roxanne Modafferi is going to go. Like, that's the danger factor with Roxanne Modafferi, is that she's unorthodox. And she's going to go, dude. If she was able to weave her way around punches from Macy Barber, even though Macy Barber is not the most technical striker, but Macy Barber is a more dangerous striker because she just has power that can put you out. You know what I'm saying? But, Roxanne is very tricky, and she's going to come forward, and she's going to bring the fight. And so is Cynthia Calvillo. That's where when you put Valentina on her back foot, that's where you have problems. Amanda Nunes gave her those problems. Juliana Pena gave her those problems. So it is what it is. I mean, Calvillo could be somebody that can go in there and go balls to the wall against Valentina. That's what they need. They need somebody like that.
So On June 14th, 2020, I'm saying it. Cynthia Calvillo beats Valentina Shevchenko. And if I'm wrong, you can't hold it against me. And if I'm right, then play it forever.
John over there. I mean, Ant over there boiling, boy. Go ahead, Ant. What you got to say, bro? I love it. I love it.
I don't even know what to say. It wasn't, I gotta be honest, BJ, that wasn't as outlandish as when you just said essentially that Roxanne Modafferi has a chance against Valentina, because that I think she don't even get out the first round against Valentina. She catches a kick to the face, man.
No way. No way. No way.
Yes
Dude.
way. Yes way.
Dude, Roxanne Modafferi has more experience than a lot of that division combined. A few of those girls combined. Dude, Roxanne, there's nothing that Valentina is gonna do to Roxanne Modafferi that Roxanne Modafferi has not seen before. That's what I was saying when I first seen that Macy Barber was matched against Roxanne Modafferi. Instantly, I said Roxanne Modafferi is gonna win this fight because Macy is young, and you know what I'm saying. There's nothing. Roxanne has faced powerful strikers in the past, you know. So I mean, you gotta acknowledge Roxanne Modafferi's skill set too.
I mean, but we're comparing a puppy to a full-blown monster between Macy Barber and Valentina, BJ. Come on.
Roxanne, you don't have over 40 fights and be considered a puppy. Like it just doesn't work like that, bro. You can't have over 40 fights on your resume and be considered a puppy. What Roxanne Modafferi is at 125 is a fucking beast. You got to give her props. Roxanne finished. I mean, she's snatching O's, bro. I mean, I gotta give it to Roxanne. Now, this is a tough fight with Lauren Murphy, just because of the style matchup. Mm-hmm. You know, Lauren Murphy, very powerful striker. You know what I'm saying? Very consistent and very powerful striker. Roxanne, not a very powerful striker, but we have seen a physical evolution of Roxanne Modafferi. She's a much more in shape fighter than we've ever seen her in her career. So, I mean, dude, as far as experience goes, man, sometimes experience will win you the fight. It'll win you the fight. She knows how to survive. She knows how to get out of positions. She knows how to get in positions. Like, dude, Roxanne, and weight and size is not an issue because she manhandled Macy Barber on the ground. I mean, it just is what it is, bro. What do you, John, say something.
I think that her demeanor, I think, is why we're saying this. Like, if she wasn't who she is outside of the octagon, I think we would give her a lot more credit as being a good fighter. But she's good. She's good. And like, listen, I can only pick one fighter to beat Valentina per night. That's my quota. I can't say two, you know, because like then we're talking crazy, and I already used mine up. So, you know, talk to me tomorrow. Maybe I'll say that. Let me see how Roxanne looks against Lauren Murphy first. But I don't know. I mean, it's just such a huge mountain to climb to beat Valentina. Like, I had to work up a lot of courage to say that I thought that Cynthia Calvillo had a chance. A lot of courage.
No, you don't. You don't have to work up a lot of courage. It was effortless for me to say that De La Rosa and Robertson are two of the best flyweights in the division, because I sincerely believe that those two are two of the best flyweights in the division. It wasn't hard for me to say it at all. At all. At all.
Yeah. A lot of people, you know what? I'm not even going to go that route.
A lot of people shit on me, dude. They shit me in my comments when I say that. And I'm cool with that. But everything that I've said about those girls have come true so far. So I have that in my back pocket. You know,
big
when I
fight for you this week.
Yes. Jillian Robertson. This is the fight that you know, and this is what I've noticed from the MMA community when it comes to Jillian Robertson. They've heard me preaching, bro. They heard me preaching. Now everybody's like, okay, BJ, okay. If Jillian Robertson goes out here and finishes Courtney Casey, then
we will put her on notice. Like, we will accept that she is on notice for the division now. And I'm like, dude, I've been saying that for years. I've been saying that since she's been in the UFC. I've been saying that. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, dude, it's not far-fetched to say Calvillo could go in there and beat Valentina Shevchenko. It's not far-fetched. These girls are the hunger and the want that these girls have. You know, some of these girls don't want to fight Valentina Shevchenko, and they've made it evident because they've turned down fights. Lauren Murphy turned down a fight. Jennifer Maia turned down a fight.
Nico Montano turned down the fight.
Nico Montano ran from the fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, Barb Honchak was set up to fight Valentina Shevchenko. She said no, and they kicked her out of the UFC. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, but there are girls like Calvillo, Casey, Taylor Rosa, Robertson. You know, there are girls that want to fight Valentina Shevchenko and that are hungry to fight Valentina Shevchenko. Those are the ones that you have to be careful of, not the ones going into the fight timid or like Chukagan, and she's already ducked the fight one time, and then they pressured her into taking the title shot. She didn't want to fight She didn't want to fight her. And she made it clear that she didn't want to fight her. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to get married. Fuck a marriage. This is a fucking title shot. Fuck a marriage. That can always happen. You know what I'm saying? So it's just it is what it is. Calvillo could very well be somebody that emerges and could shock the world. That's not far-fetched.
Yeah, and let me tell you something about the MMA community in general. Like, I don't care who it is. Like, fighters are only as good as their last fight in the eyes of most MMA fans. So it's like Jillian Robertson sucks because she lost to Macy Barber. Like, that's how some people think, and it's just like, I don't know. It's the most frustrating thing in the world because, like, you could have a fighter, like, even before Woodley fought Burns, and, like, now we could talk about, like, you know, maybe because it's 2 fights in a row, maybe there's, like, a trend there. But, like, based on what Usman did to Woodley, it was like, oh, Woodley sucks. Like, Woodley's done. Like, it's like anytime a fighter loses, I mean, you could pick any one of them. Anytime a fighter loses, like, oh, that fighter sucks. And the next time they fight, like, people just assume that they suck.
He's back.
Yeah, and if they win, then it's like, oh, it's like this huge thing. It's like, it's crazy. Like, they don't take into consideration styles. They don't take into consideration anything. It's just like, if you lose your last fight, you suck. And if you win your last fight, well, then you could be a champion someday. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I don't know. It's kind of frustrating, to be honest with you, at times.
It is.
I just wanted to say I just seen, because I got a look at her before, but I didn't get a good look at Tyson Nam's girlfriend. And I didn't hear nothing you guys just said for the last 2 minutes because I was zoomed in on, just being honest, fellas. Beautiful woman.
Oh, that sounds good.
Tyson Nam.
I definitely looked it up too and was a little surprised as well.
Yeah. Good for him.
Yeah. But see, and I kept my head in the game, bro.
That's a vet right there.
Kept my head in the game, bro. So you got to keep your head in the game. You
guys know how I am by now. Like one shiny thing, and it's
you're like a goldfish.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Legit. Yeah.
Where did he go? Like when you're driving down the road, there's a squirrel in the middle of the road, and it's like, which way do I go? Fuck.
Yeah. Like a puppy dog playing fetch.
Dude, is that not the worst feeling when you see that squirrel and you see him trying to figure out which way to go, and then you just hear doo-doo?
I've only hit one squirrel. The day I took my SATs. The day I took my SATs, I hit a squirrel.
Did you feel guilty?
Oh my gosh, that thing's like head was like stuck to the ground and it was like rotating a little bit.
Oh fella.
Man.
You hit him with a twister.
I got I did. I got out of my car. It was leaving the high school, and I got out of my car and I looked at that thing and I was like, oh my gosh.
John, what you drive in high school? I gotta hear this.
I drove a 2001 Dodge Stratus.
Ooh.
And I put a sound system in that. That thing was bumping. And then I bought my new car. I bought an Acura TSX in like 2011, and I gave that car to my now ex-girlfriend, and I gave her the Dodge, and then apparently I heard through the grapevines that the car died on her in an intersection, and she almost died because the car just like stopped in the middle of an intersection like years after I gave it to her. Crazy. I mean, I'm glad she didn't die, like whatever, but I don't know.
What about you? And what'd you drive, bro?
In high school, I used my feet, man. But about a few months after 12th grade wrapped up, I got an Acura TL, man. It was a 97. It was my baby. And then it got totaled one day. It was just horrendous. This is why children shouldn't drive. It pisses me off to this day because this 16-year-old took her mom's car and didn't look and just came out of like a parking lot, didn't stop anything. And then I'm coming down a busy main street, and it was either, hit the car on the other side coming towards me or just smash into that. And I just smashed into that. It was over from there.
Damn.
Rest in peace to that car.
How about you?
I drove a 2000 Pontiac Grand Prix GT.
Oh, killing it.
Oh, dude, I love that fucking car, dude. It was the full package for that year. It had, dude, I thought I was pimping. It had a sunroof, it had leather, it had an 8-speaker Bose sound system in it, factory, and it had heated seats, bro, and it had dual exhaust. I thought I was the shit.
Oh wow,
dude, I thought I was the shit, and all along getting 12 miles a gallon.
yeah.
You're killing it.
I'm killing it, man. Well, man, that's it. That is the UFC Fight Night post-fight scrum from your boys. And, of course, we serve you guys some fire, of course. I'm high as shit. I'm high as balls. I went to Cheesecake Factory. I got me a slice of strawberry cheesecake. I'm about to go fuck that cheesecake up.
That sounds so good. Oh, my gosh.
I have Cheesecake Factories.
Yeah.
I don't know if there is any in Florida. I used to go when I lived in Connecticut, but I don't know if there is any. I don't know where there are any in Florida where I'm at, but I used to go there all the time, and not all the time, but occasionally for sure in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Oh, it's coming down.
They're like all scattered throughout Massachusetts, so they're there.
I feel that. Shit, guys. Of course, guys, go over to Bloody Canvas MMA right here on YouTube. I will put the link in the description. Go to Bloody Canvas MMA. These guys keep it rolling. If you guys want to deal with these two fuckers every day, then go over there and hit that subscribe button. Always good shit, guys. I usually listen to you guys. I'll open up my YouTube on my way to work. I got about a 30-minute drive to work, and I'll see your videos. And I'll have a good listen every morning, dude. I listen to you guys' new episodes, man. And it's really good shit over there, guys. I just want to let y'all know that's good shit over there, bro.
Appreciate it.
I can only imagine, BJ, it's a little hard to drive when you just start hearing me and John going back and forth randomly.
I love it, bro. It's hilarious. You guys are fucking crazy, dude. I fucking love it. But guys, we're gonna go ahead and close this segment out, man. I appreciate you guys coming through. Let's do a companion this weekend. Let's do it this weekend.
I can't. I'm traveling.
I might be able to, depending on what time I get back. I might be able to.
Actually, hold on. Let me see, because I got to. I'll be in Rhode Island though. I'll be up north, but I can't commit to it. But I might be able. Let me see what's going on with the fights. I'm not going to be home. I'm going to be a little bit out of my element. But if I get things figured out, then I will for sure.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll just do the main card. It depends on I think Jillian she might be on the prelims though.
Oh no.
I might just do a post-fight video for that. But we'll figure it out, guys. We getting out of here, man. Best of luck to you guys. Much love, and we'll catch up next time. All right.
Hell yeah, man.
All right.
Peace.